Happening now, a new search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 is underway nearly a dozen years after the Boeing 777, with 239 people on board, vanished from radar after takeoff in Kuala Lumpur. The Texas-based firm Ocean Infinity is now making its third attempt to find the long-lost plane. Joining us now, CNN aviation safety analyst David Susi. He wrote a book about MH370 back in 2015. David, what do you think the chances are that this latest search that has now just begun turns up something critically important, something new?
I'll tell you, Wolf, I've been really apprehensive about these continued searches until now. I think now we've got three things going for us. One is the revised data analysis of the area, and that's being used with AI. We didn't have AI before to try to find these areas. So a lot of data got it sorted out. The other thing is they're using a new swarm technology for the underwater vehicles that are being used. Instead of just one device out there looking, we've got multiple devices in multiple control ships out there. And then third, there's been some great things about how we look at the current flows in the ocean. And we have some parts that came up on Le Réunion Island, if you remember, and Madagascar, that they've remapped back using this new technology. I'm very confident that they're going to find something on this search.
And let's hope. After all these years, David, what new information do you think can be gained if they do find wreckage?
Well, what I'm hopeful is that the voice recorders and the data recorders, if they find the main body of this aircraft, those should still be intact on the ocean floor. They may be difficult to find, but if they do find that main body of the aircraft, they should then be able to find the flight data recorder and the voice recorders, which are made to last this long. They could go 10, 15 years with the way that the EEPROM chips hold the data. It could be very well intact. And hopefully they would find that and get some answers.
How has technology, David, improved over the past 10 years or so that could improve the search? And I'm not just talking about AI.
Mostly it's about the swarms of underwater vehicles. So if you recall before, they would go out with a huge ship and they would put one device in and they would search a very narrow path, and they'd have to go back and forth to try to get this scan of the ocean floor. The new technology now allows for multiple units underwater to be tracked by a single robotic boat. There's not even anybody on board this boat that controls these swarms. So they can be out there looking in multiple areas all at one time. In addition, the resolution on these devices is thousands times better than it was before. So before you would look at it and say, is this a rock? Is it a boat? Is it a crashed airplane? We didn't know the difference. Now, these devices have very high resolution of what they're looking at on that ocean floor. I think that's the things that will be most critically different in this search.
Does the location of the current search give you any new clues about what they think might have happened? Why this plane, this 777, this Boeing 777 vanished?
No, they really didn't get many clues from the current search. The current search, if you're talking about the ocean currents, maybe I misunderstood your question, but the ocean currents gave us more information about where it might be located. However, the parts that have been located gave us some information. The leading edge of some of the flight control things that were found, the flaperon was found, and you can tell from that it came off in flight. It didn't come off once the aircraft hit the ground. It came off in flight, which tells us that the aircraft made a rapid descent and it came apart somewhat in flight. At least the flight controls did. So that gives us some clue as to how quickly the aircraft descended from its last known handshake that we know about.
So what's your bottom line assessment right now, David? Do you think they're going to find something that's going to explain what happened?
I'll tell you, I'm very confident that they will. This search area, if you recall before, it was about the size of Florida. Now it's about the size of Connecticut. I mean, it's really reduced, and that's not meaning that it's a less effective search. It means that it's more concise search. So yes, I feel very confident. I've got a very high confidence that we're going to find something on this search.
Let's hope. All right, David Susi, as usual, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Happening now, a new search for a missing MH370 is now underway. More than a decade after the Boeing 777 jumbo jet vanished from radar shortly after takeoff in Kuala Lumpur, The Texas-based marine robotics firm Ocean Infinity is now resuming its efforts to locate the plane. This will be the group's third attempt at searching for wreckage from MH370. Joining us now is oceanographer David Gallo. He's also the former director of the special projects at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. David, thanks so much for joining us. You're someone who has personally taken part in these kinds of expeditions over the years that look for wreckage on the sea floor. How does a search, first of all, like this typically begin?
Well, it begins by knowing, well, you want to know as much as you can about what happened, meaning where on the ocean does X mark the spot? Because the ocean's very difficult. We've explored very little of it. It's not easy to find something there. And I always think that you need the right team, you need the right instruments, and then you need the right technique. So it's like an orchestra: musicians, instruments, and then the music. And then with that, you've got a pretty good chance of finding a needle in a haystack. But the trick here is to find out, are you in the right haystack? Is this the right haystack to be looking in? So that's how it begins, by putting that team together, picking the right instruments, and it's a whole lot easier if you know where to begin looking.
How does a group like Ocean Infinity narrow down its search area? What is that process like?
Since the accident happened, the tragedy, there have been different groups working with some satellite information, trying to pinpoint an area where the plane might be, the wreckage might be. And I'm sure they've looked at all of that, gone over it and over it, and they haven't disclosed any more information, anything about what new information they have. But I'm sure they've looked over it very carefully, and they're confident enough to put a team out to sea for a month or so to look in that area.
What are some of the biggest challenges when searching for wreckage deep underwater on the ocean floor?
Well, it's the depth, of course, is a big problem. The ocean floor goes down to 7 miles deep. Average depth's about 2.5 miles. That's one. Two, the bottom of the ocean can be flat, but most of it, a third of it anyway, is incredibly mountainous, more steep and rugged than the Rockies or the Himalayas. And that's the biggest issue. Then on the surface, of course, you've got the weather issues to deal with, currents to deal with. So being out there is one thing, in the currents and all of that, and then lowering an instrument or instruments to the bottom of the ocean and putting them to work, that's a whole nother challenge.
Since the last time they made a search like this, searching for this missing Boeing 777, artificial intelligence has come into play. Potentially, how significant could that be in helping to find the wreckage?
I think very, very significant, Wolf. This company, for starters, Ocean Infinity, came out of nowhere and gangbusters. And now I would say pretty much they're leading in the technology and expertise to do these kinds of surveys. You can use AI a lot of different ways at sea, but the one I think maybe most importantly is looking at every little bit of data that comes back from the bottom. Best way to look is with sound, so you're not looking at a picture, you're looking at pixels of different colors usually. And I think AI has the power to really look at any of those and identify which ones are suspicious. Otherwise, it's often in the hands of the talent of a person that does that kind of work, the sonar operator.
So give us your guess, David. How likely is it that what everyone knows right now in this major search that's about to resume will actually find something significant?
I'm hoping they do, praying they do, Wolf, but it's going to be difficult. I don't know that there's enough information. Well, they feel that they've got enough new information to go to sea. I don't see where that comes from because it's been such a long time. But I hope you can't get a better team to go out there and look for it, and you just got to hope for the best that they do find something.
We are all hoping for the best. David Gallo, have a happy and a healthy new year. Thanks very much for joining us.
And to you, bye-bye.